rarely straightforward. Investigative reporter Margaret Kavanaugh reveals some of the problems one state agency is working to shed light on.
Instead of getting help for what happened, I ended up with the ultimate punishment.
Help with what she calls mental issues. Brittany Whitworth admits she lied to police about domestic violence, but says the string of events that unfolded after caused her to lose custody of her 2 children who were given to a relative she says she has a strained relationship with.
It's shocking. It's appalling.
Delegate A.C. Cordoza from Hampton has been trying to help her.
There is a clear mishandling of the case by some officials.
We reached out to the Hampton Department of Human Services, who issued a statement saying they legally can't talk about specific cases, but say they try hard to make all reasonable efforts to keep children with their parents whenever it is safely possible and in the best interest of the child or children. When that cannot be achieved, relative placement options may be deemed more suitable, or as a last resort, they say a child may be brought into their custody. The Office of the Children's Ombudsman, an agency created to investigate cases involving children in the system, found issues with how Whitworth's case was handled. The agency gathers and reviews complaints, but has no legal authority to make change. To date, they say they've received about 600 complaints from around the state, identifying potential violations of policies or laws in about 15% of the cases. Many times when children are taken, they're either put in foster care or alternative living arrangements, which puts them with someone that they know, like a relative.
We saw a lot of those cases just not handled well.
Back in June, we shared Whitworth's story, and then we had people from across the state reaching out to us with their own problems about their personal situations.
I just want to know, what can I do to get my grandchildren back? I have done no wrong. I haven't done nothing.
After hearing testimony from CPS, a judge ruled against Marilyn Morgan and decided that placing her grandkids in the custody of social services was in their best interest. She lost her court appeals. The Ombudsman's office reviewed her dealings with CPS, not the court decision, and found problems with policy violations and issues with the children being removed.
I wake up some nights and I'm wondering, did they feed her? Did they hug her like I do? Did they tell her I love her?
Morgan adamantly denies ever abusing or neglecting her grandchildren. Her attorney sent a letter to the governor asking him for help.
There's nowhere to go. There's nobody to help.
This mother says she's been fighting to get her kids back. The Ombudsman's office found there was a lack of clarity in the beginning of her case, which they state is a problem across Virginia, but also say they didn't find any policy violations. We've reached out to the local agency in this case, who couldn't talk about specifics, but did say assessing safety and risk is a continual process in CPS, which they take seriously.
We go to court again in November.
Among other issues across the state, the Ombudsman's office found significant legal issues concerning parents' constitutional rights in certain situations.
Some of these temporary arrangements should last about 3 or 4 months, right? But some of these cases were going on for years.
The Virginia Department of Social Services develops the regulations and policies for the 120 social service departments across the state. But the report found that they are limited in ensuring quality, consistency, and effectiveness.
These local agencies don't have any clear oversight. Even though the ombudsman process exists, it's just to shine a light on, hey, this is wrong, but sorry, we can't do anything about it, and that just doesn't cut it.
Other problems cited in the report: turnover rates among caseworkers and a lack of training.
Let me make it clear. The majority of CPS workers are doing a great job and are doing heroic actions every day. The issue is when there is a lack of staff.
Officials in Hampton say parents have the right to appeal all decisions regarding the placement of a child outside of parental custody through the appropriate judicial process. Delegate Cordoza says he's exploring possible legislation changes that could improve the system. He thinks there should be a focus on fixing problems and keeping families together, and says too often that's not happening.
It's shocking, it's appalling, and it's completely unacceptable. And that's another reason there must be something done. And I intend on making sure that happens.
For these women, every day is a struggle, longing to see the children that they love. I reached out to the Virginia Department of Social Services 3 weeks ago and asked how many kids are in alternative living arrangements across the state and how those cases are handled. Later, I reached out again to learn more about the processes that DSS uses to investigate child custody cases. They have been responsive but said they needed more time to gather the information that we are requesting. Wednesday, they said they hope to have an answer by the end of this week. Marilyn Morgan's case is based in Lynchburg. There, they said they can't talk about specifics of a case, but said that any time a child is removed from the home, it is a last resort, and said they try to keep families together. Now, if you would like to read the responses from all the agencies in our investigation, go to our website at WTKR.com. Margaret Kavanaugh for News 3.